So this video is going to be about insulating my floor. In the other videos that I talked to you about my cargo trailer, I put some insulation behind these walls, in between the two shells. And how I did it was I put that bubble wrap that I showed you before in the other video. You can kind of see it over there, but you could watch my other video and see what I did. But I used the bubble wrap kind of foil looking stuff, and I put it against the outer shell, and then I put this other insulation foam sheeting on it, sheathing. So this has kind of a foil, reflective foil, kind of helps reflect heat back. This also has, it is foiled, it's like painted white, but there is foil on it. Just scrape that off, you'll see the foil. But foil on each side of this foam core sheathing, foil faced foam sheathing, that's what it is. So I got this at Lowe's or Best Buy or Menards or something like that. I think it was Menards. They had cheaper prices. But I used this for the sections. Each section was about like this, and you could see it in my other videos of what I did. But then I took that foam spray, whatever you call it, the Gap stuff that you can get at Walmart, and I just filled in the sides, and that kept it in place. And then I left a little bit of a gap in between to have the reflective insulation type concept work. So I hope that makes sense. But I was going to put this underneath the trailer because there's nothing but one sheet of metal on the bottom. It's just like a truck bed, and I don't know if you can see that, but you can see where the light is coming through up there. There's holes, so I'll show you the bottom of it, but when I go underneath there. But there's just one sheet, and so I don't have to worry so much about heat coming through there because the sun's not going to hit it, but I have to worry about the cold. And there's a lot of videos talking about if you want to survive in the winter, even in the newest camper trailer, you have to figure out how to insulate that bottom. And there's a lot of techniques and ways to try to cover the sides, and I'll share some pictures. Hopefully I can find them, but so the wind doesn't get under there, and there's just a problem of just the cold getting underneath and making it and dropping the temperature on your feet and throughout the whole trailer. So that was the one weakness that this trailer had, and you could see that I can't really put any layers or insulation on top of this floor, because anymore, and I'm going to be hitting the ceiling, especially on the sides over here. But so I had to think of ways to put it on the bottom, and there's not a whole lot of options. And so I thought of a way to do it, and so I'll just kind of walk through with you what I'm going to do, and it'll be pretty simple. I'll just maybe do one section of it, and then you could see how I do it. But I've seen somebody else do it, so, and I thought, you know, it'll probably be okay. So let's just walk through that. Okay, so this is the foam Gap stuff I was talking about, the great stuff typically used for a lot of households. But it's going to take a section like this, hopefully you can see under here. So this is going to be somewhat of a challenge, but you can see how it's sectioned off. So I'm going to have to cut it down to size, so these strips of insulation will just kind of be just measured just right, so it'll just push up in there and it'll be just by the friction, it'll hold it up there. You know, there's chances that rocks can like fly up there and hit it, but more often than not, it's actually going to be okay. I thought that I could probably paint this, put a layer of truck bed liner on it to protect it, but more or less it'll just keep it up there pretty solid. Even the shaking around, I think it'll be fine. So I've seen other people do it, and this is the best option I've had, and I've had leftover foam core sheathing, so I thought, man, I just, you know, use the rest of that. And that one method that I showed you, or I shared a link where a guy used this great stuff and spread it out with a little attachment. That would be very expensive if I just did that one technique, because that guy had this attachment on the end of this thing, and it spread it out to 3 or 4 inches and maybe like an inch thick. So that's a cool thing, that's a cool technique, and I thought about that, but you know, doing the entire bottom end of my trailer is not going to be very economical for me, so I decided I'll just use this stuff and just seal it in with this great stuff. So I feel pretty good about that. It'll keep it insulated down there, and I could fill in some holes and whatever with the rest of this. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'll just do one of these sections, and then you'll get the idea. Okay, so hopefully you could see under here. Let's get a good angle. So you can see kind of by friction and the pressure, it just holds it up there. I could shave it down just a little bit so I can stuff it in, but I think if I just push it hard enough, it'll just stick up there. And if you look, I mean, it looks pretty tight as it is. What I'm going to do is take that gap sealer stuff and just go across that and really seal it in, but just as it sets, you could just see that it's going to help a lot, keeping the wind and just any little drafts from getting in there. And here's one of those holes that I was talking about. It just goes right up into my trailer. So, and this is the only sheet of metal. The flooring is right there. So, and there's just room enough to just put some insulation just like this. Yeah, let me see if I could just push this up in there, and I think it'll. Fantastic. That's what I've been imagining for a long time. I've been putting this off for a long time, but I think I need to do it. Okay, so this is the point where you take some gap sealer. All you need is just a tiny little, doesn't need to be too big, just enough to get in there. Just a little crack there. So it'll expand a little bit more, maybe till out there or something, but that's the idea, just all the way down. And sometimes I just kind of scrape it down. Smooth it out. And then it goes a lot further. So I smooth it out there, and that'll even foam up just a little bit still. But this gap filler is going to act as a even better adhesive, and you can see it's already starting to foam up again after I smooth it out. So it's been a few minutes, and just like I said, you could see even after I smeared it down, it still foams up, and you could still fill in the little holes. So it'll save, you could spread it out and it'll save, some, it'll go a lot further and save it, and it'll still seal it pretty good, and there won't be a big old bubble here. I did this whole section here. That's what it looks like. So I might paint it over with truck bed liner, keep it protected. Other than that, it looks pretty good. I feel really good about that. It'll be really solid in there. I may not even have to put truck bed liner on it, but I might do it. It does look pretty simple, but it took a lot of thought into what I wanted to do about that insulation on the bottom. I had to think about the durability of it, if it was going to stay in there, if it was going to be a long-term type thing, how long it was going to last. I don't know. I wasn't quite sure, but all the other methods were more expensive. This seemed like the least expensive method in doing it, with it still being pretty robust and tough, and it's going to stay in there. Because as you could see in there, it was tight. It felt like it was a part of the trailer, and now that I put that gap sealant stuff in there, it's just going to really hold it in. I did put some truck bed liner on the inside, on the floor, but I can maybe get some more of that and just put a coat underneath this trailer after I get the insulation on it, and that'll just add to the durability and protection and everything. So it's a simple thing, but it took quite a bit of thought. So just give me a thumbs up, and that helps a lot. I appreciate you subscribing, and we'll get some more videos up